Hey guys, welcome to Gen Next Door Podcast. I'm Jennifer Otero. I started this podcast to highlight the stories of local business owners, entrepreneurs, and creatives on how they started their businesses, advice they offer, and what they are doing to make a difference in the community. This is a safe space for like-minded people who want to be inspired and get motivated to live their dreams, all while giving back no matter how small. I'm right there with you, so let's do this. Hi everyone, this week's episode is with Miss Kat Richards. She's owner of Miss Kitty Tattoos. She's also an artist and a photographer, and she has a private studio called the Black Lodge in Jerome, Arizona. Hi Kat, I'm glad to have you on today.
Hi Jen, thanks for having me.
First, can you summarize what your business is?
Sure. Well, this is the first time I think I've done this in some sort of an unveiling platform, I guess. So that's kind of funny. I've kept the Black Lodge very ambiguous, and I kind of enjoy that people don't know what it is. And it's funny since I work in a tourist town and people walk in all the time and
that's
daily.
Their first question, like, oh,
what is this? What is this place? So the Black Lodge is primarily my private tattoo studio. So the mystique has been ruined here. But I also showcase some of my artwork there. So like a mini gallery, and I hope that I can do more of that. I have some of my paintings and drawings and photos on the wall. I do try to also host pop-up artists, whether that be, other artists or jewelers or my friend who does nails. Initially, the shop started as a kind of cooperative, and through a series of events, I became the sole owner in the best of ways, on good terms with everyone. But I wanted to keep some of that cooperative collective feel happening, even though I'm the sole owner. So I try to invite in, like I said, other artists and musicians, and then, just have it a place to showcase and work on all of the art that I do, which is many things, but yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so before we get deeper into your business, can you tell me about you, who you are, where you're from?
Oh, sure. That's always another loaded one. I'm like, oh,
I know.
I'll try to keep it brief and here. So I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I lived in Minneapolis for most of my life. I started in the tattoo industry actually when I was 17, unbeknownst to the people who hired me as a teenager. I went to college when I was 14. So I think I kind of slipped into that college student bracket. So I was able to get away with some things that maybe I wouldn't have been able to otherwise because I had a college ID. But so anyway, I went to college when I was really young. I went under the guise of going for journalism because I was always told that art was not a career, even though my dad is an artist. So I just had this big mental block, like, oh, I can't pursue art. I can't pursue art. And then got to college, took some journalism classes, and I was like, God, this is everything I did in high school. So I started taking a lot of art classes. So I think I duped everyone like, yeah, I'm a journalism major, but really I was just taking art classes. I did my undergrad at the University of Minnesota and then started working in tattoo shops. I did that, pursued my tattoo apprenticeship. I went back to college after I opened up my first tattoo shop in Minneapolis. I had sort of like an existential crisis. I just didn't feel like I was doing anything good in the world. So I went back to school for anthropology with a focus in North American prehistoric archaeology and American Indian studies. And then decided, you know what? I actually love tattooing. It's great. And school is great too, but I'm going to stick with tattooing. And I moved out to Arizona I guess it's about 8 years ago now, and worked at a few different shops in Northern Arizona and also the Valley. And within the last year, became the sole owner of the Black Lodge, and that's where I am right now.
I feel like your life story is so interesting.
I was like,
maybe we should do that.
Let me just fire hose you with all this information really quick.
Wait, how did you get into college at 14? Like, I remember being 14. I didn't know anything. Well,
I didn't know anything emotionally, for sure. It was really hard in that regard.
But you must have been really, really smart.
I was, but I think it was mostly, I just hated high school. It was just a terrible environment. Kids are mean. I was a weirdo as I am now. So I didn't fit in, and I just didn't really want to be there at all. So I remember going to my guidance counselor, and there was an arts high school at the time, excuse me. And I wanted to get in there. I danced, I wrote, I was a visual artist. And he told my parents that it would look like I couldn't handle normal high school if I went there. And I was like, yes, my dude, I cannot handle normal high school. It's miserable. So I was like, okay, what are my other options? And I just went down the list. One of them, the work program, they would allow you to like leave half of the day to go to your job. And I was like, I'll do that. I'll get a job. Excuse me. And they're like, no, you're too smart for that. And I was like, okay, well, what's next? And they're like, well, you can try to get into college. And I was like, okay, game on, let's go. And I took the entrance exam and they let me in, and that was it. It was like, okay, great. I'm going full time to the U of M. I don't ever have to be in this high school again.
That is crazy. Going into college at an appropriate age, I don't think I was still even prepared then. You know?
Right.
But I guess you're never prepared.
No, you're not. And I guess that's part of like growing up, is going through all of that, because there's so much more than just writing a research paper. Yeah. Anyone can do that with enough time and dedication. Like truly, I believe that. But yeah, having the emotional intelligence and learning, time management, I think all of that kind of hit me really hard in a way that I wasn't prepared for. Unfortunately, yeah. I know what I was doing.
So how did you get into journalism and then anthropology and Indian studies, and then your art stuff? Is it like you have a lot of different passions, or were there things that led to different areas?
I think I was going for journalism. When I was younger, I always say that I truly was kind of the idealist who thought that if people understood the truth, that you could change their mind about something. Mm-hmm. And I think we can all attest to the fact that even presently, people manipulate and change truths. And it's not just a direct path of, here are the facts. Now you see the way things that I want you to see them. And so you believe my way. Like the world just doesn't work like that. Our brains don't work like that. Humans don't work like that. So I guess I kind of started off with like an idealized, passion to hope to change the world, which I guess I became quickly disillusioned once I actually got to college.
Same.
That got shut down really quick. But I also went into writing because I thought that I couldn't pursue art. Like I was told that I couldn't pursue art, that there was, I'd struggle and starve and it's bohemian. I'd never make any money. So I kind of had this block put in place by, people around me, but also by myself, because I believed that. And then once I got through with my first round of college, I was like, you know what? I don't know. I know artists. I was getting to know people in Minneapolis and other young people. Like, these people are making it work. I don't know why I couldn't. And then the world of tattooing kind of took me into the tattoo arts, I guess, if you want to call it that, pathway. And then I guess I've always been interested in archaeology. I think that was one of those, like, if I could have a dream job, I'd be a park ranger or an archaeologist. So yeah, it just seemed like that was a good, legitimate career that I could pursue, I suppose. And I say that with air quotes, which of course no one will see that when they're listening. But of course, like, art is a legitimate job, and I don't ever want to discount that. And it's been my profession for, my entire adult life. So of course I believe that. But
how were you motivated to like go back to school? Because I did it once and I don't want to go back.
Right. I don't know. There's something that creeps around, like every autumn. I have this, like, I should go back to school, like creeping feeling that swings in, and I have to like talk myself off the ledge. I actually had to block ASU's phone calls.
Oh my gosh.
During one day I was like, yeah, I do want to go back to school, and called them, and they were all like, yes, we would like you. Join us. And they wouldn't stop calling me. And I'm like, I've got time to rethink this. I don't think this is the right time.
Do you just like learning?
School. Yeah, I love school.
Yeah.
I'm one of those gross people that I kind of like writing research papers. Like I kind of, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I do. Yeah, I love libraries. I just love the academic environment, and it frustrates me. I mean, of course, and it's a time sucker, but learning is wonderful. And I wish that I could just be a full-time student forever and pay my bills, but I know that's not realistic.
Yeah. So in your art, you have a lot of like ghosts and aliens. Do you believe in ghosts and aliens?
Oh, okay. Tough question. I guess, you're asking me all the questions that I'm like, wow, this is like soul bearing stuff.
I
Nobody ever
know.
asks me this. Usually I can tiptoe around it and be like, oh, I don't know. So my answer about aliens, which is my very broad answer, is I usually say, I feel like it really seems arrogant of us to assume that we're the only intelligent life in the universe.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I say all the time.
Yeah. Like I don't have a personal experience with aliens or alien abduction. I did have a time when I saw a weird light in the sky and I documented it, and I called MUFON and I called my brother and did all those things, but I never really got a conclusion from it. And actually, I saw something recently that was a little strange, but again, no definite conclusion. It's funny, now that I'm in Jerome, people, constantly ask me if the building that I work in is haunted. And I have not had an experience in Jerome, oddly enough, a ghost town, but in Minneapolis, I would comfortably say that both my home and my tattoo shop were haunted.
Okay.
Not in like a malicious way, but there are footsteps. And so I guess I've had more experiences in the ghostly realm. But yeah, I guess blanket answer, yes, I believe in both. Yeah.
Same. But like, what's your definition of a alien?
Oh, an alien. I guess an alien would be any living organism that's not of Earth, right?
Yeah. The movies make it a whole big thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not that way. Like, so that's what people think when they think aliens. Like, no, that's not true. Well, obviously movies aren't true, but like there's something still out there. Maybe it doesn't look the same as what we see, but
maybe it's like an umbrella meets a jellyfish meets a, like, I don't know, something we've never thought of before. It doesn't actually like, come down and stand outside our bedroom window and scare us or whatever. Like, we don't know. But I think like, yeah, there's other life out there for sure.
Do you ever have you ever heard stories of Jerome though?
Yeah.
Like from other people?
Stuff. Yeah, I've heard lots of stories. There's like a handful of like really, I guess, well-documented famous ghosts in Jerome. I've just never experienced it, but I don't know, maybe I have my blinders on or something too. Maybe I keep saying like, maybe there'll be a moment when, since I haven't had an experience, I'll have a really big experience.
Oh goodness.
I kind of hope not, like footsteps or something, or tapping on my window. Fine, but I don't need a big blowout ghost event.
Okay, so when did you start your business?
The one I'm presently in, I became sole owner in December officially. Like I said, initially it kind of started as a cooperative with two other women, and I jumped on board. And then for different reasons, the two other women decided to do different things. So yeah, became the sole owner in December. So just coming up on a year.
Oh, wow. So like, what's the story behind Miss Kitty Tattoo's name?
Oh, well, my name is Kat. So it's a derivative of my name. And I don't know, I think what happened was like 20 something years ago, one of my coworkers in the tattoo shop would like just jokingly call me Miss Kitty and go around like, oh, Miss Kitty, Miss Kitty. And then that kind of stuck. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'm Miss Kitty. And yeah, I'd like to say there was a better story, but I think that's all that it evolved from, was just someone creating a funny nickname for me and then me being like, okay, Miss Kitty Tattoos it is.
That's cool. What made you go that route? Like, since you already have a degree and then you decided to go back and do another one, but like, what made you decide to do this co-op?
So this all came about, gosh, when did I started pursuing the idea of doing a shop with my friend Crystal, who was part of the Black Lodge initially. I think it was like right during COVID, right around like June after the uprising had happened. And we were both frustrated in our work situations. I had always been trying to make something work in Arizona, or in northern Arizona where I live, but I was driving to Phoenix. And so I was commuting like over 200 miles a day, like 3 hours a day.
Wow.
And like, I love my shop, and obviously the one that I was at, that's why I kept doing it. But it just got to wear on me. And having that time during COVID when I wasn't commuting, I think it made me reevaluate a lot of things where I was like, you know what? I don't need to suffer like this. I know there's another way, even if it means I'm making less money. So I started talking to Crystal. We were trying to get something to work. And then I actually had a bunch of major life changes. And I was like, you know what? I just can't dedicate the energy to this. So I'm going to back away for a little bit. And then in a few months, I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I know I wasn't there for like the building part of this, but do you have any room for me? And she was like, yeah, we do. So I jumped on board. And I was kind of juggling working in Phoenix and working at the Black Lodge for a while. And then it was one of those like, okay, I can't work 7 days a week. I can't dedicate all of my energy to a shop if I'm not there all the time. And it's unfair to everyone in this situation. I'm splitting my time. So I put in my notice in Phoenix. I feel like I did this all very cautiously, maybe even more so than having done it now than I would have. I would have been maybe a little slapdash if I was doing it now, just having had that experience behind me. But yeah, just went for it, and things have been really, really good. So I'm really fortunate.
Wow, okay. Were you always like talented in creating in the drawing and painting? Were you always like this, or did you take some classes? Is there any like does art come into your like from your family?
Yeah, I would say yes. My dad is a visual artist. He also has a quote unquote real job.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he was pressured into the security of feeling like that was important. You know, I think we all struggle with that where you're like, oh, like, you know, 401ks and health insurance through a corporate plan and paid vacation. All those things sound really appealing and really comfortable and safe, but they're just as unsafe as if you were your own boss and arranging those things.
As COVID has taught all of us.
Right. Yeah. Or just like working for any major corporation where you can get laid off at a moment's notice,
Yeah.
you know, top performer or what have you. So yeah, my dad's an artist. My mom doesn't consider herself an artist, but I do think she's very creative and artistic. So I think I grew up with art appreciation, and that was really fostered. My parents took me to art museums, and I have like uncles and aunties who are artists, visual artists as well. I don't remember doing my first paintings or drawings. Like my parents probably just like stuck a paintbrush in my hand, told me to go to town with some canvas. So I guess I've been creating in that regard as long as I can remember. And that was always fostered. It was just the element of you can't make a living doing this. Like, yes, do it, enjoy it, pursue it. It's a great hobby. You're talented, but, you know, think about a real job. So I did take a lot of art classes in college. I did lots of like extracurricular stuff in school when I was much younger. And I guess I continue to. I'm going to do some figure drawing classes here coming up. And
how did you learn to do tattoos?
So I worked in the tattoo shop, and I'll give you the short version of this. Like, oh, it's a really long one. Basically, I did a tattoo apprenticeship for about 2 years where it was just me and my mentor one-on-one giving me assignments and, you know, teaching me how to actually do tattoos.
And what was your first tattoo that you did on someone? Was it scary? I feel like I would, I'm afraid to mess up.
I mean, yes, but I think at that point I had waited so very long to just put a tattoo machine to someone's skin that like every day I'd go in towards the end, like, is this the day? Is this the day they're going to let me? It wasn't like we put it on the calendar, like, well, on Tuesday, the 18th, you're going to. So it was just a matter of like, if I had earned their trust and respect and like accomplished so much that they felt like I would be capable of doing a successful tattoo. But the day finally came and I was like, yep, I'm ready. I've held a tattoo machine. I've done everything but tattoos at this point. And my friend had like a really awful Betty Page tattoo on his arm. This also defines the era. And he's like, I'm going to get it lasered off anyway, so you can just do whatever you want. And all I did was little like asterisk stars and dots around it. So like super simple, something that I couldn't, well, in theory, I couldn't screw up.
Yeah.
So I like, they kept the tattoos that I did within the realm of things that I could succeed at and slowly built on that so that I wasn't just out there butchering people like, okay, who wants a sleeve today? Let's go. You know, I didn't do a sleeve for a long time.
So how do you describe your aesthetic in tattoos in your art?
Oh, let's see. Well, I do love color. And I think that's probably...
I saw that. That's like one of my things that drew me to your art. I love color.
Oh, cool. Yes. I can't help myself. And of course I like the spooky things. And it's kind of ironic, I guess, that a lot of the, you know, spooky macabre themes are kind of, you know, muted tones and darks. And I'm just too in love with color to stick with some sort of a muted brooding palette. So yeah, I guess I love color. I love to use a lot of different line weights. And I think that kind of makes me not a traditionalist because I can't just do everything in one line weight like a marker. It makes me crazy. I like to do thick and thin lines. I like weird, strange colors and weird, bold pastels. I like to do, I guess, leaning towards traditional in terms of like the design elements, but I feel like almost every tattooer would say that there's like a certain kind of repertoire of images that are repeated for almost everyone. But of course, I do a lot of flying saucers. Since moving to Jerome, I do a lot of ghosts, a little bit more spooky than I had been before, but I'm rolling with it. I like it. I love the spooky stuff. That's a huge part of me. So,
and in your paintings, do you paint like similar?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like my paintings have been kind of neglected lately, but yeah, for a while, I guess one of my last big projects, was that the last one I did? But they were flying saucers. Yeah. Bold colors. I did some paintings for a show at Tattoo Tony's shop, Lady Luck in Phoenix. And I think before that, I did like a bunch of little, like 2, 3, 4-inch paintings. And I took old like magazine and map photos that were black and gray and mounted them on colored pieces of wood. And then I drew in little flying saucers. So I guess, yeah, they're kind of all intertwined. I hope so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see you have tattoos too. Do you ever like tattoo yourself, or are you doing it?
No, I feel like there's two different parts of your brain. It's like the doing tattoo part of your brain or the coping with getting a tattoo part of your brain. And those parts for me do not work together.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like the way it feels enough to like knowingly hurt myself, if that makes sense.
I never thought about that. Yeah, that is kind of weird.
I did once, and like a nickel-sized tattoo took me, I don't know, like almost an hour because I'd go to do it, think like, God, I really just don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah.
wait. And then I'd have to convince myself through that process again. And then like, okay, just do it. And yeah, it was a really awful experience. But when I started, I felt like I had to follow through. So I finished it, but it's no masterpiece.
So what has been the hardest part of your business? And especially from changing to like a group of people and now you doing it alone, has it been different?
Yeah, I guess the fact that I work alone it's strange and interesting and also great. It's been an adjustment for sure in that, yeah, sometimes it can get a little lonely in the shop. There's no one to run like interference if I'm like, hey, like 10 people just walked in and I can't talk to them right now. But it's taught me, I guess, managing all of that. And there is something different that comes with, I have a lot more pride in making sure my floors are clean or making sure, the shop is comfortable or whatever it might be. Those chores that before I would have just seen as tedious if it wasn't my own shop, I don't mind doing them as much because I have certain standards for how I want the shop to look and feel. The hardest thing, I guess, working in a small town has different challenges, and I have to be aware that there's a lot of aging boomers, I guess, in the community. I have to accept that not everyone sees tattoos as art. People are closed off to outsiders, and that there might be people who, no matter if I'm, the most kind and generous person that they've ever encountered and respectful, they're not going to like what I'm doing. And it's, I guess, I don't even know what kind of a lesson that is. It's not a lesson in patience, maybe a lesson in acceptance that I just kind of have to trudge along and do what I do and be kind and respectful to the people in my community and just be accepting that, yeah, not everyone is going to love it. And that's okay.
That's tough. I mean, I guess like accepting that not everyone's gonna like you, but if you keep doing what you're doing and people show up, just like focus on those people. Right. For me as a people pleaser, that would be hard.
Yeah.
I want people to like me. I want my neighbors to like me.
Of course. Yeah. That's probably the biggest challenge. But I also feel like that's something that doesn't have a direct solution. Like,
Yeah. You can't change
there's
people's minds. You just have
no,
to be kind.
right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's all that I aim to do. So,
Can you tell me about what the process is like? Is it expensive to have a studio? Is there like a good customer base? Like, what do the days look like for you? And the first days look like?
gosh, let's see. So I feel like in terms of the physical space, I will probably never be done working on it. It's and my boyfriend said that to me recently after we were doing the last project. He's like, "You're never going to stop working on this, are you?" Well, I hate to say that out loud, but probably not. I just did some of the really major construction in my space, like finishing the floor. And I've been working on trying to get this wall built for a while. There's like COVID and lumber issues and like countless issues. But the physical space, I feel like I'm pretty happy with where it's at. I'd say it's almost complete. I could tweak it forever, but it's really close. And then, yeah, I guess it is a little crazy doing all of it on your own. I try to be mindful of my phone time during the day and not be totally tethered to my phone. But I usually start my workday with making, the Instagram posts and the Facebook posts, which I have to do so I don't slip into irrelevancy.
Mm-hmm.
Then I try to answer emails. Sometimes I don't get to that till evening. And then almost every day I head into the tattoo shop, do my first clients at noon. Sometimes it's just a couple people. Sometimes, I tattoo for 10 hours a day. It all depends on how my schedule works out. And then, usually some shop cleaning before I go to bed and answer some emails. And just the cycle repeats itself. I think I'm at a point now where the shop is functioning a little bit more. I'm in a little bit more of a routine so that I'm not like balancing construction projects and like really major things with also doing my work and also drawing. Oh yeah, I left that part out. Clients. That's a huge part of what I do. Or the occasional working on something just for fun for myself. But yeah, it's at this point, most of my waking hours are spent doing work related things, I'd say. And I know it won't be that way forever, but presently that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And is there ever like a time where you're overwhelmed and like, how do you handle that? Because like now that you're by yourself, it's like kind of more of self-motivation.
Totally.
So how do you like push yourself even on those hard days?
I think I'm at this point where I truly am happy to see my shop where it's at. And I really enjoy the space and I really enjoy being there. So that's what pushes me to continue. And it's probably bad to even utter it, but I am a bit of a perfectionist. So probably at the, mercy of other things in my life, I'm going to keep pushing to make everything the way I want it to be and the way I want to present it to clients. But at the sacrifice of maybe other things in my life, which maybe isn't great, but that's where I'm at right now. I have learned, I've hired some people here and there. I've had a couple clean for me. I have had a little bit of difficulty hiring people who consistently are able or want to work. And I say that totally not in the, like no one wants to work sense of things. Like I believe in paying people a fair wage for the labor that they do. But in a small town, you just have a smaller pool. And I know a lot of the people in my age group who might be able to do that kind of work, they're overextended too, and they want time off. So I understand and respect that, of course. But I delegate some of the cleaning labor here and there, and when I can, and when people are able to do that. And I've found a couple different online modules to help me with like sending deposits or appointment confirmation or appointment reminders and things like that. And that's been really helpful, like a virtual secretary type thing, so that I'm employing someone, but it's more of like employing a computer to do it.
Yeah. How do you find employees and how many do you have? Like, what's the process for you?
I guess technically I have 0 employees by any tax purposes. I've kind of hired people out like independent contractors for cleaning here and there. I don't know. That's the other really strange thing. Now that I have my own, or it's not that strange maybe, but now that I have my own place, I feel like I'm really guarded about kind of protecting it in a way. I'm sure we've all heard about many of the terrible things that have happened in the tattoo industry in the past couple of years, and a lot of things coming to light with Me Too, and I don't know, just people showing their true colors in the past couple of years. But I am very protective of who I want in my space. I feel like I've built up a place that is safe, and I tattoo, I'd say mostly women and secondarily couples, and then lots of the queer community. And I want to make sure that those people are safe in my space, because tattoo shops are notoriously not inclusive places. So
I didn't know that. I don't have any tattoos, but I just thought you just go in, get a tattoo. I didn't think it was like uncomfortable place or people make you feel a certain way.
Yeah, I think even as a woman tattooer, there have been places, other shops I've walked into, I'm on vacation just out of curiosity, or even shops, within the state where I've walked in, immediately been made to feel uncomfortable and walked out. It's just a very male dominated kind of, it can be kind of aggressive kind of people. And that's not every shop. I don't want to stereotype. I've worked for some really great shops. And I've worked for some shops that are of the concept of kind of trying to present this roughneck persona to, maybe some people enjoy that and appreciate that. They think it's exciting, but I think that if you are having something permanently marked on your body, you want to be calm and relaxed. And,
especially when you're freaking out because it probably hurts.
Yeah. Why would you want to like add stress to that situation? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Would you ever think about hiring someone, or maybe not even a tattoo artist, but maybe someone to help you like in the back end or with your art stuff?
Yeah, maybe on the back end. I thought about it. I just hosted a huge event, and I had a couple friends who served as kind of help, I guess. I don't want to say receptionists, but they were kind of doing reception work during the event, and that was super helpful, and they're wonderful. But yeah, if anything on the back end, but I don't know if I could commit to hiring someone to be present in the shop with me. And right now I feel like I kind of have it under control.
Yeah.
So yeah, bringing someone else in at this point, maybe not necessary. Every once in a while I'm like, man, I would really like to not sweep the floor. But again, it's like, well, if I want it done right and I want it to be to my standard, then I guess I have to. And I'm okay with it. So
you have other artwork in your shop. What are the other people like you collab with? Do you have a specific, like, do you look for something specific, or you are just welcoming to a lot of different people?
Yeah, I guess I've just been kind of working out from my friends circle. I've had a couple of people reach out when I've asked for, like, hey, we're having for Saturday, which is the big day in Jerome. Is there anyone who'd want to vend? And I don't think I've encountered anyone where I'm like, oh, no, not you. No, terrible. Everyone has been really amazing. Everyone's been a multi-talented artist and a kind person. And I guess that's most important to me. And I want to build up people who are doing great art, but also that are really good people. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you enjoy most about what you do?
I mean, of course, I love making art. And I guess I'm really fortunate that I get to do that and also make a living from it. The art, I guess that was the thing when I was in school that made me realize I had to do art in some capacity, so that I found myself getting really sad when I wasn't creating. And initially I didn't know what was going on. I was just depressed, and I realized, oh, I know what's missing. I haven't created anything. I was still tattooing during the whole time I was in school, but I wasn't putting time into my own creative projects. And I found out that is like a vital part of my being and my happiness, is to be creating. But yeah, it's almost a necessity, I think. Like I have to be creating in some capacity. So yeah, of course I love that, but it's also like, I need this to function.
Well, like that's good that you're following that calling, because sometimes people get stuck at a job and they're like, feel like something's missing, but they don't do anything about it. Oh, at least you're trying to make this work.
Right.
And even if you fail, it's like, well, at least I tried.
Right. Of course. Yeah. And I think I don't know. There's something, I guess there's less responsibility in a way because it's just me. So even like, what would failure look like? Like, I'm not able to pay my bills anymore. Like, I'm not even sure how that would be defined. So right now I feel like I'm in a pretty safe place in terms of all of that. Like one day, there's no clients for 2 weeks for some strange reason, but knock on wood, hopefully I don't see that happening for a long time. Or I can just paint, or then I'm making pet portraits. Or when you're your own boss and you're in charge of your success, I feel like it's really hard to fail.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot more rewarding, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are your goals for the next like 3 or 5 years? Like what priorities do you want to achieve, and what barriers are in the way?
Oh, let's see. I guess my ultimate goal would maybe to have a standalone building. And I haven't even really like uttered that out loud before, but if I had my completely right now I'm in a building with other artists and actually working on another business upstairs, which has yet to be unveiled, but a standalone building would be really cool. That would be the ultimate goal, which I have not even begun to work towards. But
well, you put it out into the universe out loud.
I did, yeah, yeah. Maybe that would happen. I'd like to make more time for painting. That's something I've neglected, and I have a lot of projects that I'd like to do. I'd like to host more consistent art shows in the space. I've hosted pop-up artists, but not art shows specifically, so I'd definitely like to do that. And gosh, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the way everything is functioning so far. Yeah, you're really making me think. I'm like, those are two really big ones. Maybe that's about it. Maybe get to the point where I am not working 7 days a week. Like that would probably be a healthy goal.
Yeah. At least take a day off.
Right, at least take a day off here and there. But it's also when you're doing something you love and when you're working on something that you love and care about, and then it's your baby, it doesn't feel like work. Mm-hmm. So I am still enjoying it, even though I'm working a lot. Yeah, I guess those would be my major goals.
What do you read or watch to stay informed or for fun?
Oh, gosh. Well, after the uprising and having come from Minneapolis, I went through, it was, a few days of just like constantly watching live streams and being glued to Twitter and Facebook and this and that all at the same time and talking to family members. And I kind of realized it was like spiraling me into some crazy like ADHD, like non-functioning way of being. And I decided for my own health that I needed to like take a step back from all of that. So since I guess 2020, I have consciously cut myself off from like watching the news. I'll tune into NPR periodically, or I say NPR, Minneapolis Public Radio, NPR, National Public Radio. I'll tune into that periodically just to check on what's going on. Yesterday, I deleted Facebook because I also think that it's maybe not the healthiest for people. So right now I'm just kind of relying on if something crazy is going on in the world, I'll probably find out about it. If there's some news that I need to know about, I will find out about it. I still have a social network and I still talk to people every day. In terms of like media, I am still on Twitter and I don't log in every day, but I do feel like that's a pretty decent news source. I'm reading the Elvira autobiography, which is actually really great. I'm picking away at that. And then I have a subscription to Archaeology magazine that I read.
Okay.
There's something else too. I used to really love Bust magazine, but I've kind of fallen out of touch with them. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So
that's good.
I guess I'm kind of living in a bubble, maybe not totally intentionally.
I think maybe that's okay.
Yeah. For now, that's what I'm doing, and that's okay. And I'm still, getting information, and I'm not apathetic. I only have so much bandwidth.
No, yeah. Watching the news all the time can be very anxiety inducing, and like you can't do anything about it. So it's like, why listen to more of the same thing over and over? Because they just repeat like, okay, this specific thing is happening, but then they do it every day. I'm like, okay, it just makes me depressed.
Totally. Yeah. And helpless. And I'm definitely like I want to fix things kind of person. Yeah. So it's hard when there's so many crises in the world right now that I don't have the solution for. No matter how much I dwell on it, I don't know how to fix these things. So yeah, self-preservation a little bit, but not apathy.
So what's something you want to leave the listeners with? Information about your projects, last inspirational words.
Oh, wow, you're getting me with all of these. I just went into this like, I have a migraine, I'm gonna drink some coffee today. We're just gonna talk. It's gonna happen. Gosh, I don't know. I think maybe I'm looking at my desk right now at home, and I made a little foil print a few years ago with the mantra, let go of that which you cannot control. And
yes, that's for me. Yes.
Yeah, right. I'll send you one. I have one at work and I have one at this desk. And I just noticed my little like drawing mannequin person was like pointing at it like, oh, maybe that's what I'm supposed to tell you. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to tell myself. But I think that's huge. I think, yeah, people just need to be kind to each other and be understanding and be patient. And I think those are baseline, really good things for one human to do to another. Yeah, in terms of my shop, I just want to create a safe, positive, inclusive place for people to get tattooed. And I want to do the best tattoos possible. And of course, a clean environment, clean and sterile.
Yes.
Let's see, what do I have for projects going on? Oh, I'm hosting a huge fundraiser actually right now from now until noon on Halloween, and donate to the Jerome Animal Humane Society, screenshot their receipt, send that to my email, and you can be entered into a raffle. And depending on how much you donate, determines the number of your entries. So I think $100 is 6 entries, and so on. All the details are on both my Instagram and on my shop's Instagram, which is the Black Lodge AZ or Miss Kitty Tattoo. And there's links in the link tree on there as well. And then I think after that's over, that's kind of how I'm celebrating the shop's 1-year anniversary, by giving back to the community.
That's awesome.
And then for December, I have to get it together, but I'm hoping to host an art show. That should be pretty exciting. Pretty fun.
Ooh.
And I was like, I can't say too much because I haven't put a call out for artists yet, but stay tuned for details about that.
Awesome. So last question, what do you love about Arizona? What specific local business and or location?
Oh, what do I love about Arizona? I love how diverse it is, how many different microclimates there are here.
Yeah.
How it can be raining on one mountaintop and you can just drive 45 minutes and it's sunny over there. I love the open spaces. Yeah, I think the biodiversity is amazing. Let's see, local businesses. My friend Brianna owns Prescott Women Magazine, and she's an amazing lady. And she does a ton of great things for the community. So I adore her. Gosh, there's so many. My friend Cryptic Nails in Arizona. Melissa is wonderful. Mariah, who owns Born to Be Wild Canoe and Kayak Rental in Prescott. She's a great lady. My friends Jesse and Jesse host a dance night on Monday in Cottonwood. And I don't know if they have a formal name for their business, but they are at Main Stage on Monday nights in Cottonwood, and they're great.
Wow, all over the place. It's awesome.
Yeah. But I try to rep all those people too on the shop Instagram. So if I'm leaving anyone out, it's not intentional.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I learned a lot, and you have a very interesting story. You should write a book.
Oh, God. That's what my friend Amy is always telling me. She's a writer. She's like, I'll help. I'm like, Amy, I do not have time. Maybe I'll just like yell it into my phone. I'll just like voice text it into my phone. Like see what it comes out.
So this week on the podcast, I had the pleasure of speaking with Kat Richards. She is the owner of Miss Kitty Tattoos and has a studio called Black Lodge in Jerome, Arizona. Her love of learning is very inspirational, and her art is fantastic. Please support her in what she's doing by donating to her fundraiser, which I'll link below. The deadline is noon on Halloween. And if you like this episode, please subscribe to the show, and thank you so much for listening every week. It means a lot. Happy Halloween!